The silver blade is an inch from his throat, but he isn't looking at the knife. He's looking at the blood on his knuckles and calculating the exact force it took to break a man's jaw. To him, violence isn't instinct. It's an equation he never wanted to solve. Across the room, she's choking back a cough that tastes like copper and wolfsbane. Every breath she takes is a chemical lie, a poison she drinks just to keep the monster inside her quiet. She chose a slow death over a life of slaughter, yet here she is, cornered in the fluorescent hum of a midnight laundromat, staring into the eyes of the man whose family stole her soul. He holds the keys to an empire built on a lie, a sequence of numbers burned into his mind that he thought were just childhood games. She is the ghost who knows exactly how much blood those numbers cost. He has 6 months to become a butcher, or he loses everything. She has days to live, unless she trusts the heir of her greatest enemy. Keep watching to see how a man who fears his own shadow and a woman who's already dead uncover a secret that will burn every werewolf dynasty to the ground. He sat behind his father's desk and tried not to panic. The chair felt wrong, too big, too expensive, like it was made for someone heavier, someone meaner. His hands shook when he pulled open the drawer. Inside was a gun, silver, clean, heavy, and beside it a folded note with a dark stain in one corner. Blood. He didn't touch that part. He read the note instead. The council meets tonight. Show strength or lose everything. That was it. No explanation, no goodbye, just a threat dressed up as advice. He crushed the note in his fist and dropped it in the trash. Then he checked his watch. 6 hours. That's all he had before people decided whether he lived or disappeared. His phone buzzed against the desk. Again. He flipped it over. 15 missed calls, all from his uncle. Of course. He muted the phone and set it face down, like it might explode. The office door opened without a knock. A man in a black suit stepped inside and closed it quietly behind him. "Sir," the man said, calm like this was just another workday. "The body's been removed." He nodded because his throat felt tight. "Warehouse is clean. 3 shell casings. Looked professional." "Thank you," he said, but it came out soft. Barely there. The man placed a folder on the desk. "The council expects you at midnight. If you don't show, they take the territory." He opened the folder. Faces stared back at him. Names, locations, 12 men who ran things he didn't even know existed. His father kept him away from all of this, on purpose. Now they wanted him in charge. "The beta is waiting. Says you need preparation." He stood, buttoned his jacket, and followed. The hallway walls were lined with portraits, old leaders, alphas, men with sharp eyes and confident smiles. Predators. He didn't look like them. The conference room smelled like smoke and old leather. A scarred man with silver hair sat at the table. "You look like your mother," he said. He stayed standing. "I'm Alexei. I worked for your father for 20 years. I know who you are." Alexei nodded toward the chair. "Sit." He did, stiff and straight. "The council will test you tonight," Alexei said. "What kind of test?" "They'll bring in a traitor, someone accused of stealing." His fingers tightened on the edge of the table. "And you'll decide his fate." "I'm not an executioner. I'm an accountant." Alexei laughed, rough like gravel. "You're a Volkov. The wolf is already in you. I've never transformed. Your father made sure of that." "Why?" Alexei looked away. Maybe he wanted to protect you. Maybe he was ashamed. And now? Now you either change or you die. He checked his watch again. 5 hours and 40 minutes. "I need time," he said. Alexei's voice stopped him as he stood. "Your uncle's been calling." "I know. He wants something. He always does." Back in his office, the gun was still in the drawer. He picked it up and checked the chamber. 6 bullets. He slipped it into his jacket pocket. The weight felt wrong against his ribs. His phone buzzed again. This time, he answered. Dante, his uncle said smoothly, I'm sorry about your father. Silence. The council meeting tonight. You'll need guidance. I'll manage. You've spent your whole life pretending you're not what you are. He ended the call. Numbers helped. They always had. He opened his notebook and started writing. Accounts, percentages, patterns. His father used to sit on his bed at night and recite number sequences like bedtime stories. He memorized all of them. He thought they were games. Now he wondered if they were something else, something dangerous, something meant for a moment like this. The sheet was still wet and hot when she pulled it from the machine. It burned through the gloves, but she didn't flinch. Pain was background noise now. She fed the sheet into the dryer and slammed the door shut. The metal clanged loud in the empty laundromat. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. One of them flickered like it was about to give up. It was just past 2 in the morning. 4 more hours until her shift ended. The place smelled like detergent and old water, the kind of smell that never really left. A homeless man slept in the corner, curled under a bench. He hadn't moved all night. She coughed into her elbow. It tasted like metal, like pennies. The poison was working its way through her again. She reached for her water bottle and took a long drink. The liquid burned going down. She swallowed anyway. Better burning than changing. The door chimed. Her shoulders stiffened. She didn't turn around, not yet. Footsteps crossed the floor. Calm, confident. Too calm for this neighborhood. Coins clinked into the change machine. She watched the reflection in the dryer door. A woman in a red coat stood behind her. Clean hair, clean boots, alert eyes. Wrong. Her pulse picked up. She took another drink, forced it down, counted her breathing. In, 4, hold, 4, out, 4. It kept the wolf quiet, barely. The woman in red loaded a washer but didn't start it, just stood there, waiting. Their eyes met in the reflection, just for a second. She looked away first and kept folding towels. Perfect edges, straight lines. Control mattered. The woman's phone rang. Yes, the woman said quietly. I'm here. She heard every word, even from across the room. No sign yet. Her hands didn't stop moving. Are you sure this is the place? Pause. I'll wait an hour. The call ended. Her stomach tightened. This wasn't random. She finished the towels and moved to the next dryer. Jeans this time. Heavy. Men's. She tracked the distance to the back door without looking. 40 feet, a break room in between, 3 obstacles. The homeless man stirred and sat up. You got change? He asked. She walked over and dropped coins into his hand. Thanks, he mumbled. When she turned back, the woman in red was watching her openly now. No pretending. Her heart started racing. The wolf stirred, angry, alert. She drank again. The poison burned like fire. The woman stood and walked closer. Do you have change for a 20? She asked. Her voice was polite, too polite. Machine's broken, registers locked. That's inconvenient. There's another place up north. The woman smiled. Too many teeth. I think I'll stay. She turned back to folding towels. Her hands were steady, even though adrenaline flooded her veins. 2 more hours. She just had to last 2 more hours. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. She glanced down. Unknown number. 1 word. Run. She deleted it. Didn't look up. The woman's phone rang again. This time she moved closer, pretending to clean lint traps. Confirmed visual, the woman said. Moving in. That was it. She walked calmly to the supply closet. No rush, no panic. Inside, she grabbed her emergency bag from the top shelf. Knife, cash, fake papers. She swung it over her shoulder and pushed through the break room. The exit red sign glowed like a warning. Her hand hit the back door. I wouldn't do that. A man's voice. She froze. He stepped out of the shadows near the lockers. Big, broad, leather jacket. His eyes caught the red light and flashed gold. Pack. Iris Kahale, you're hard to find. She didn't answer. Your family wants you home. I don't have a family. That's not what your uncle says. He stepped closer. Her hand slid to the knife. You know where the money went. You were there. My father died knowing nothing. Liar. He lunged. She moved without thinking. The blade slid into his side. He grunted and grabbed her wrist, strong, inhuman. She twisted free and ran. Her shoulder slammed into the door. It burst open into rain and darkness. She ran. Cold air burned her lungs. Footsteps followed. She didn't look back. She didn't stop. She disappeared into the night like she'd done before, like a ghost. The room was cold on purpose. He could tell the moment he stepped inside. Concrete walls, no windows, metal chairs arranged in a half circle, 12 men sitting in them, watching him, testing him. Someone had shut off the heat to see how long he'd last without complaining. He didn't cross his arms, didn't shiver. He stood still and let the cold sink in. The man in the center stood up. Gray beard, hard eyes, voice like ice scraping metal. "Boris Volkov is dead," he said. No one reacted. No sympathy, no surprise. "His son stands before us claiming inheritance." All eyes turned to him. He kept his jaw tight and said nothing. The man stepped down from the platform and walked around him slowly, like a predator circling prey. "You smell human," the man said. "I'm half human," he replied. "Can you change?" "No." A murmur rippled through the room. The man stopped in front of him and smiled. "Then you cannot lead." "The territory is mine by blood," he said. "Blood alone isn't enough." The man leaned closer. "Show us your wolf." His hands clenched. "I've never transformed." The smile widened. "Then you'll learn, tonight." A gesture toward the shadows. 2 wolves dragged a man into the center of the room. The man was bloody, barely conscious. They forced him to his knees. "He stole from Volkov's stores," the leader said. "Judgment belongs to the Alpha." His stomach twisted. "What's the punishment?" he asked. "Death." The word echoed. A knife was pressed into his hand, silver, warm from someone else's grip. "Do it," the leader said. "Prove yourself." He stared at the blade. His reflection warped in the metal. He calculated without meaning to. Angle, depth, arteries. His hand started shaking. "I can't," he said. The leader took the knife back. "Then you are not Alpha." A gunshot cracked through the room. The kneeling man fell forward. Blood spread across the concrete. He couldn't look away. 6 months, the leader said. "Transform, kill, lead." "Or," he asked quietly, "or we take everything." The council stood and filed out like this meant nothing. Alexei appeared beside him. "Come," Alexei said. "It's over." Outside, rain poured hard and cold. It soaked his suit in seconds. "You need to accept what you are," Alexei said. "I need to think." He pulled out his phone and opened his notes. Numbers calmed him. Patterns made sense. A car pulled up. His uncle stepped out with an umbrella. "Get in," his uncle said. "I'll walk." The umbrella covered them both. "You can't do this alone," his uncle said. "You need help." "I have Alexei." Alexei stayed back, watching. "My help, real help." He stepped away. "I'll figure it out." "You don't have time." He walked anyway. Rain blurred the city lights. He sat in his car and stared at his notebook. Numbers stared back. His father's numbers. Maybe they weren't games. Maybe they were warnings. He started the engine and drove. 6 months, and the clock was already ticking. She barely made it inside before her legs gave out. The door slammed shut behind her. 3 locks, one after the other. Only then did she slide down the wall and sit on the floor. Her hands shook. Blood dripped from a cut above her eyebrow and landed on the tile. Slow, thick. She pressed her head back and stared at the ceiling. Still alive. For now. She pulled out her phone. The screen was cracked, but it worked. One contact mattered. Doctor. She typed fast. "Emergency. Need a refill." The reply came almost instantly. Supplies low, price doubled. She closed her eyes. Of course it had. Everything always cost more when you were desperate. When? She typed. Tonight, midnight, same place. She dropped the phone beside her and forced herself to stand. The mirror in the bathroom didn't lie. She looked hollow, pale, like someone already halfway gone. The poison was eating her from the inside, but it kept the wolf down. That was the deal. She stripped and stepped into the shower. Hot water hit her skin and stung the cut on her forehead. Pink water swirled down the drain. She watched it like it might hypnotize her. After, she wrapped herself in a towel and opened the closet. Barely anything inside. A lockbox sat on the top shelf. She pulled it down and opened it. Fake passport, cash, and a photo. Her parents, both smiling, both dead. She stared at it longer than she should have. Then she put it back and locked the box. She checked the time. 16 hours until midnight. Too wired to sleep. She opened her laptop instead and slipped into the dark corners of the internet. Pack business always leaked there. Coded posts, rumors. One headline froze her. Volkov Alpha dead. Territory unstable. Her pulse jumped. Comments scrolled past. Air is weak. Half human. Won't last the trial. She leaned back. So it had begun. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She hesitated, then answered. Yes? It's Marcus. Her jaw tightened. How did you get this number? You're not as invisible as you think. I'm not meeting you. Your uncle knows you're alive. She swallowed. I figured. There's someone else now, Marcus said. Someone who wants what you know. I know nothing. You know where your father hid the proof. She hung up and threw the phone across the room. It hit the wall and cracked again. She dragged her hands through her hair and breathed until the shaking stopped. She'd burned the ledgers years ago, watched the paper curl and blacken. But the numbers, those were still in her head. Every account, every transfer. Her father made sure of that. She checked her bank balance. $400. Not enough to run, not enough to hide. She stared at the screen for a long time. Then she opened her encrypted messages, typed one sentence. I have information about the Volkov theft. Interested? She sent it before she could change her mind. She lay back on the mattress and stared at the ceiling, waiting. Midnight came fast. The parking garage was empty and smelled like oil and concrete. She watched from the shadows. A van rolled in. Wrong driver. Her instincts screamed. She stepped out anyway. She needed the poison. The driver held up a cooler. Payment first. She handed him the envelope. He counted it and shook his head. Short. That's all I have. No deal. He got back in the van. She slapped the hood. I need this. Then find more money. The van drove off. She screamed and kicked a pillar. Pain shot through her foot. Didn't matter. Without the wolfsbane, she had days, maybe less. Her phone buzzed. A reply. Who is this? She typed fast. Someone who knows what your father did. Meet me tomorrow. How do I know you're real? Her fingers hovered. Then she typed. Because I can recite the account numbers. All of them. She hit send. The bus ride home felt unreal. Lights blurred past. People laughed, talked, lived. Her building came into view. Someone stood near the entrance. Marcus, alone. I warned you, he said. You sold me out. I gave you time. I won't go back. Then you'll die. She didn't answer. Inside her apartment, everything was wrong. The lockbox was gone. Her passport, her cash, the photo, all gone. Her phone rang. Her uncle's voice filled the room. You have nowhere left to go. She hung up. Her hands shook. Only one option remained. She opened her email and typed to the Volkov heir. They're coming tonight. I'll trade the key for protection. The reply came fast. Where are you? She sent the address. Then she sat on the floor with a knife in her hand, waiting. The table was buried under paper. Financial reports, territory maps, old contracts, notes written in his father's handwriting. He'd been standing there for hours. Coffee sat untouched beside him, cold, forgotten. The numbers kept pulling at him. They didn't feel random. They felt familiar. He pulled out his notebook and opened it to the first page. Rows of numbers stared back at him, the same sequences his father used to whisper at night, like lullabies, like games. He started writing the account numbers from the files beside them, side by side, line by line. His heart started beating faster. Some digits matched, not exactly, but close enough to matter. He circled them in red, then more and more. His father hadn't been playing games, he'd been hiding something. The numbers were a key, a cipher, a way to bury the truth where no one would think to look, in a child's memory. His phone rang. He ignored it. The pattern was finally forming. Each childhood sequence matched a real account, each one tied to a territory seizure, to money that didn't belong to them. The phone rang again. This time he answered. "What?" "Busy?" his uncle asked. "What do you want?" "A meeting, 1 hour, Oak Street warehouse." "Why?" "Because I know what your father really did." The words landed heavy. The line went dead. He stared at the papers, then at the numbers, then at his watch. 50 minutes. He locked everything into the wall safe and changed clothes. Dark, simple. The gun went into his pocket. The warehouse smelled like rust and damp concrete. A single light burned upstairs. His uncle sat behind a desk like he owned the place. "You're late," the man said. "I'm early." His uncle smiled thinly. "You were always difficult." He pulled out a ledger, old, leather-bound. "This is what your father built everything on, lies and theft." He opened it. Names, dates, transfers, blood written in ink. The Kahale name appeared again and again. They figured it out, so your father destroyed them. His stomach twisted. "There was a daughter," his uncle added. "She vanished. Is she alive?" "Maybe." The word hit harder than it should have. He took a photo of the ledger. His uncle didn't stop him. "Knowledge is power. Use it, or I will." Outside, his phone buzzed. Unknown number. "I have information about the Volkov theft. Interested?" His blood went cold. He typed back, "Who is this?" The reply came. Someone who knows the account numbers. The same numbers burned into his memory. She was alive, and she knew everything. She arrived early, 30 minutes early. Old habit, never show up on time when you might need to run. The parking garage was empty, except for oil stains and shadows. Every sound echoed too loud. She stayed behind a concrete pillar and watched the entrance. At exactly midnight, a van rolled in. Her stomach dropped. Wrong van. Wrong driver. Her instincts screamed at her to disappear, but her body was already betraying her. The wolf was pushing, scratching, hungry. She stepped out anyway. The driver saw her and reached into the van, pulling out a small cooler. "Payment first," he said. She handed over the envelope. He counted the cash, slow and smug. "Short," he said. "That's all I have." "No deal." He climbed back into the driver's seat. "Wait," she said, grabbing his arm. He shook her off easily. "No credit." The van pulled away, tires screeching. She slammed her fist against the concrete. The pain didn't help. Without the poison, she was on borrowed time. Days, maybe less. Her phone buzzed. The Volkov heir replied. "Who is this?" She didn't think. She typed, "Someone who knows what your father did. Meet me tomorrow." "How do I know you're real?" She smiled without humor. "Because I can recite the account numbers from memory." She sent it. The bus ride home felt unreal. Cold air, flickering lights, strangers pretending everything was normal. Her building was quiet. Too quiet. Marcus waited near the door. "You should have answered," he said. "You sold me out. I warned you. Get out of my way. You won't survive the night." Inside, everything was wrong. The lockbox was gone. Her life reduced to nothing. Her phone rang. Her uncle's voice filled her ear. "We're coming for you." She hung up. Hands shaking, she emailed the Volkov heir. "They're coming tonight. I'll trade the key for protection." The reply came fast. Where are you? She sent the address. Then she waited, knife in hand, breathing slow. The knock came 20 minutes later. She checked the peephole. Glasses, suit, nervous eyes. Not a monster. She opened the door. Grab your things, he said. We're leaving. She didn't argue. He got to the library early. Too early. Old habit. If you arrive first, you control the room. He picked a table in the corner of the third floor. Clear sightlines, 2 exits, minimal traffic. A man slept over a newspaper. A student typed like the world was ending. Normal people. He pulled out his notebook and pretended to read. His right hand stayed in his jacket pocket, resting on the gun. At exactly noon, she walked in. He knew it was her before she looked his way. Too alert, too thin, like someone who hadn't slept properly in years. Her eyes scanned the room once and locked onto him. She didn't hesitate. She sat across from him like they'd planned this for months. "You're early," she said. "So are you." They studied each other. Up close, she looked worse. Pale skin, dark circles, a tremor she couldn't quite hide. "You look sick," he said. "Poison tends to do that. You're suppressing yourself." She nodded. "Costs more every day." She slid a folded paper across the table. He opened it. Numbers. His stomach dropped. They matched. Not close, exact. He folded the paper and slipped it into his pocket. "Why contact me?" he asked. "Because I need money, and you need the truth. I already have pieces of it." She leaned forward. "Then you're missing the important part." He watched her carefully. "You know where the real documents are?" he said. She smiled, tired and sharp. "That's what I'm selling." "How much?" 50,000. He laughed once, short. "No." "Then you'll never see them." 20. 40. 25. She hesitated, her jaw tightened. "Cash, today." "I can't. I might not be alive tomorrow." The way she said it made him believe her. He transferred 10,000. She checked her phone and nodded. "Bank, 5th Street, box 2847. "How do I access it?" "You don't. I do." "So you're coming with me?" "Tomorrow." He grabbed her wrist before she stood. She froze. Heat radiated from her skin. "Your family is hunting you," he said. "I know." "They'll kill you." "Probably." "Let me help." She pulled free. "Why?" "Because you're proof," he said, "that I don't have to become him." She studied his face. Then she stood and walked away. He watched her disappear between shelves. Outside, a black car idled across the street. He didn't like that. He took the long way home. She knew she was being watched the moment she stepped into the diner. Nothing obvious. No one staring too long. No sudden silence. Just a feeling, like pressure behind the eyes. She slid into a booth near the window and kept her back straight. Ordered coffee she didn't plan to drink. The 10,000 in her account felt fake, temporary, like borrowed air. It wouldn't last long, not with the price of the poison climbing every week. Her phone buzzed. Marcus. "Last chance, meet Makoa tonight, peacefully." She deleted it without replying. The bell over the door jingled. A man in a leather jacket walked in. Tall, solid, calm in the way predators are calm. His eyes swept the room once. They landed on her. Gold flickered in them. Pack. Her heart slammed hard. She slid out of the booth and walked toward the bathroom. Didn't rush, didn't panic. The man followed. The bathroom door slammed shut behind her. She locked it and climbed onto the sink. The window was small, but she'd fit. She shoved it open and dropped into the alley. The smell hit first. Garbage, wet concrete, rot. She ran. Footsteps thundered behind her. She turned a corner and almost collided with another hunter. Female, short hair, same eyes. She swerved and kept running. Her lungs burned. The poison made her weak, slower than she should have been. Human. She ducked into a narrow gap between buildings and squeezed through, scraping her shoulders raw. A taxi idled at the corner. She yanked the door open and threw herself inside. "Drive," she said, "now." The driver hesitated, then pulled away. She watched the hunters shrink in the rear window. Only when they disappeared did she breathe. The taxi dropped her a few blocks from her place. She didn't go straight in. She circled, watched, waited. Everything looked normal. That meant nothing. She climbed the fire escape and slipped through her window. Inside, the room felt wrong. The chair wasn't where she'd left it. Her mattress was shifted. Someone had been there. She ran to the closet. The lockbox was gone. Her passport, her cash, her photo. All gone. Her phone rang. Unknown number. She answered. "Iris Kahale," her uncle said. "It's time to come home." "I'm not coming." "Then we'll come to you, tonight." The line went dead. Her hands shook. No money, no papers, no poison. Only one move left. She emailed him. "They're coming tonight. I need somewhere safe. I'll trade the key." The reply came fast. "Where are you?" She sent the address. She packed what little she could carry: knife, clothes, laptop. Then she waited. The knock came soft. She checked the peephole. Glasses, suit, nervous eyes. He looked nothing like a Volkov. She opened the door. "Get your things," he said. "We're leaving." She followed. Down the back stairs, into the alley. His car waited. Black, clean, too expensive. "Why are you helping me?" she asked. "Because you're the only proof I have," he said. She laughed quietly. Honest answer. They drove. His building was guarded, secure. Pack eyes watched her but didn't move. Inside, the apartment was all glass and steel. Safe, cold. "Guest room's there," he said. "You'll be safe tonight." She sat on the bed and locked the door. For the first time in years, she let her shoulders drop. Almost safe. Almost. He hadn't slept. Not even a little. The coffee machine hummed in the quiet kitchen while the city glowed outside the windows. 3 in the morning. Maybe later. Time didn't feel real. She was down the hall. A Kahale. In his home. Under his protection. If the council knew, they'd call it weakness. If his uncle knew, he'd call it leverage. He poured coffee he wouldn't drink and stared at the counter. Everything in his life had turned upside down in less than 48 hours. A sound from the hallway made him turn. She stood there, swaying slightly. Sweat soaked through her clothes. Her skin looked too pale, too tight. "I need wolfsbane," she said. Her voice was strained, thin. "I don't have any." "Then I need to leave, now." She took one step and collapsed. He caught her before she hit the floor. She was burning up, feverish, trembling. Her fingers dug into his wrist with shocking strength. "Get it," she whispered, "or get away from me." Her eyes flashed gold. The wolf was close. He pulled free gently and grabbed his phone. He dialed Alexei. 3 rings. "It's 4 in the morning," Alexei said. "I need wolfsbane, medical grade." Silence. "You have the Kahale girl," Alexei said. "She's dying. She's a liability. Can you get it or not?" A sigh. "Sunrise. That's the fastest." "That might be too late. That's the best I can do." The call ended. He knelt beside her and pressed a cold towel to her forehead. She flinched but didn't fight. "Why are you doing this?" she whispered. "Because I need you alive," he said. She laughed weakly. Honest. He stayed with her, changed the towel, counted her breathing, watched the city wake up. At dawn, the doorbell rang. Alexei stood there with a silver case. "She looks bad," he said. "Fix it." Alexei knelt and prepared a syringe. "This will hurt." She convulsed when the needle went in, then went still. Breathing slowed, color returned to her face. "She'll sleep," Alexei said. 24 hours, then she needs more." He closed the case. "We need to talk." In the office, Alexei crossed his arms. "Victor knows. I assumed. He wants her dead. I know. You're making this personal. She's evidence. She's a target. He met Alexei's eyes. "I'm not becoming my father." Alexei studied him for a long moment. "That choice will cost you. Then I'll pay it." Alexei left without another word. Back in the living room, she slept peacefully. For now. He sat across from her with his notebook. Days, resources, enemies. The math was ugly, but it was the only language he trusted. This alliance was dangerous, but it was real. And for the first time, he felt like he had a choice. She woke up to sunlight and silence. For a second, she didn't know where she was. Then it came back. Glass windows, high ceilings, too clean to be safe. She sat up slowly. Her body felt weak but stable. Human. The wolf was quiet. Good. Temporary, but good. She walked into the kitchen and started coffee. The normal routine felt strange, almost comforting. He was asleep in a chair, glasses crooked, notebook open in his lap, numbers everywhere. She shook her head. Of course. "Coffee?" she asked. He startled awake. "Yes," he said, then paused. "You're okay?" "For now." They drove to the bank together. Neither spoke. The building was old, heavy stone, serious. The vault felt colder than the council chamber. The box slid open with a metallic click. Inside was the truth. Pages and pages of it. Transfers, seizures, kill orders disguised as contracts. Her father's name was there. Signed, witnessed. She swallowed hard. "This ends them," he said quietly. "Yes. And it ends me." She closed the folder. "Or it frees you." Back at the apartment, they spread everything out. Photographs, timelines, evidence. The phone rang. His uncle. "The trial is in 2 months," the voice said. "You're failing." He hung up. 2 months. She met his eyes. "What will you do?" "Tell the truth." "That'll kill you." "Maybe." She nodded. "Then I'll testify." He extended his hand. She took it. They worked through the night. 2 enemies turned allies. Not because they trusted each other, but because the truth demanded it. And that was enough. Download Blood Debt now and discover a werewolf romance where survival means choosing between becoming a monster or dying with your humanity intact. Will Dante embrace the brutal legacy that could save him, or will he risk everything to expose the truth alongside the one woman who should be his enemy? Start reading and find out if love can bloom between 2 people built from blood and secrets.